Good evening, folks, and welcome back to Barbecue Smokers and More. Just a little bit of prep for some nice beef plate ribs that we're going to be cooking and smoking for our dinner tomorrow night. So we're going to probably trim a little bit of the fat off, maybe, and we're going to season it with some Magic Dust dry rub from Lane's Barbecue, which we've used this before and it's quite nice. So it has the ingredients in it is some white sugar, some brown sugar, salt, pepper, garlic, chili powder, paprika, a bit of smoked paprika, oregano, and there's actually some ground mustard, cayenne I think it is. So it's quite a good variety of seasoning through it. So first thing we've done is we've taken it out of the back. Now you can see there's the bones in the rib, and all the meat is up towards the top, and that's why henceforth why they probably call them beef plate ribs. So what we've done is we've started to peel the membrane off. We just used a little bread and butter knife, and we just hooked up the front and to get it started. And now it's just a matter of we peel the rest of it off, hopefully. You can see it's probably a little bit tricky to get it started, but it seems to be peeling off all right once you get it off. And this will also probably help. I probably won't season this side because there's not a great deal of meat between at the bottom of the rack. So as you can see, all the meat was at the front, on the top of it, so we'll turn that back over in a minute. Here we go. So we've taken some of the really thick parts of fat off the top, but we've left as much of it on there as we can, so we'll render down. And we've just scored the top both directions, so hopefully when we let it rest overnight, the dry rub will get to soak through and will give us a nice bark, dark bark when we smoke it tomorrow. So I'm now just going to drop it into a tray, and we will put our seasoning on. Okay, we'll give it a nice generous coating of the Magic Dust. As I mentioned, there's quite a few good flavours in the rub. So it's getting a bit. Might be better off on the other side because I'm not. There we go. We might try and get some of this on the side of it as well, so it'll stick. So I'll just give that a bit of a dab, and I might stand this up and hopefully try and get a little bit on the side as well. So. This is the first time we've actually done some beef plate ribs. Usually I'm one for pork spare ribs. I'm quite looking forward to what this is going to turn out like for us tomorrow. There's probably 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about six ribs 6 ribs in there, so that'll make for a good couple of meals for the dearly beloved and I. There we go. So probably what I could do is probably even sprinkle a bit on the base of the tray, and then whatever rubs off on the underside will probably wouldn't go astray, just in case. Not that it'll touch it, I suppose, but worth a try. We'll see how we go. Give this one last coat, so it's nice. Try not to leave any open spots as we can. So it'll all add to flavour. Need a little bit more. Right, I think that'll do us. And then we'll pop that in the fridge. I don't know whether to cover it. There's a couple of reviews and things I looked at said not to, but I think we might perhaps put a bit of glad wrap over. I was worried about it actually touching the top and taking some of it off, so I think we will put a bit of a cover over it, bung it in the fridge, and then when we before we go to cook it tomorrow, we'll get it out and get it to room temperature. So when we do cook it, we've got a nice little bit of kind of sweet sauce there, which we will probably add that to it at the last maybe hour or so. And so until tomorrow, we will see you then. Right, good afternoon folks, and welcome back. And today we've got the smoker fired up to 250 Fahrenheit for our beef plate ribs that we're cooking this morning. So let's we have a couple of drip pans in the base there. I'm taking their middle shelves out. We've got some water in the little that thing. So we'll pop these on. We'll put them about the middle. So we've got a nice even temp. Hopefully that'll go across the board. And now I've got a probe here. Some of the supply ones. So what I'm looking for first off is they'll be in the smoker for a few hours, and then we will probably wrap them. And I think we're looking for about 165, I think, internal for the first few hours. So then we will, I think we'll wrap them. I'll double check on my recipe and we'll see how we go. So that's them on. It's now about just after 10:30, so a good maybe 7 hours. So we'll have them smoked for about 3 hours, and then we'll start spritzing them with probably some apple cider vinegar. So here we go. And temp gauge is under 200 at the moment because we've just closed the lid. We're sitting on about 250. So usually there's a bit of a difference between that gauge and the temp gauge. And these things are renowned for holding their temp close to 250 every time. We'll come back in a few hours and we'll see how we're looking. Bye for now. Right, for check-in time. So we're about 4 hours into the cook. And we've got smoke rolling, and it looks like they're starting to shrink up on the bone. So they're looking pretty good. We're still sitting on a consistent temp of about 250 Fahrenheit. So all in all, they're looking pretty good. So we're probably heading for maybe a 6 to 7 hour cook. So it'll probably be just in time for dinner by the time we rest them for an hour. So we'll come back soon. Well, we're back again. So we're sitting on 190 on the internal. So we've got about 10 to go before we hit 200. So the last hour possibly, I'm going to put a bit of nice sauce over them. This is a kind of sweet sauce. I'll pour a bit of it over it, and then I'll just glaze it on there. I don't want to get too heavy-handed with it, because I'll probably just come off again when we go to wrap them. But well, nevertheless, it'll add a nice bit of sweet stickiness to it. So I might even come back and do this again before we literally take them off altogether. So try and get this around as much as we can to add a bit of sweetness to it, and I might even try and get a bit underneath. Try and get some up the sides. Of course, all this will add to a little bit of flavour and whatnot. First one, and then we'll probably give them a bit longer, or until it gets closer to temp, and then we'll give them another shot. Okay, our temp's gone up a couple of degrees, up to about 192, I think it was. So it's getting there. So time for another little basting, which will probably be the last one before we take them off, and they look nice and delish. They're peeling away from the bone quite nicely. Got a good shot of that one, so I'll be able to get some up towards the back. Right, I'll just let that stew while we do the last of it, and then in about 45 minutes it'll probably be time to wrap all this and let it rest. So what's that? It's heading back up to 10, so that'll give it, what are we doing? Sitting on, what's the internal? 191. Internal, so we've got about 9 degrees to go before we hit 200. So hopefully it won't be too much longer, and then we'll be able to wrap it and let it sit for an hour. So we'll come back in. Okay, time to get them off. We have, oh god, they look yummy too, nice and glazed. So I'll have to get the probe out. Put them over on the foil, and we'll get them wrapped. Okay, right, so I'll just steady this, pull that out. Looks nice and sticky too. Right. Alright, they look so nice. They're pulled away from the bone quite nicely, which is what we wanted. So now we'll wrap these up. Hopefully sauce won't stick to the oil too much. I might try and make a little bit of a parcel out of it, I think. Too long. Right, I'll pop this in the whiskey. Oh, fit. Oh, there we go. And we'll put some towels over them so that will keep it nice and warm. And we'll let it stew and cook in its juices. And so we'll let it rest. They're recommending about an hour. So we'll let it rest for an hour while we go and get the rest of our dinner organised. We will come back a bit later when we get them out ready for carving. So, back soon. Okay, all ready for the carving. It's been rested for an hour, so we'll just roughly find the centre roughly. And ooh, pretty good. Not much of a smoke ring though, but a smoke down the bottom. But other than that, they look nice and tender. One more cut. Oh, maybe a bit of a tight one, that one. Still has a bit of the membrane left on there, I think. Okay, so there we have it. Our first attempt at some nice beef plate ribs. If you can see, there's a lot of meat on top of the bone, because that's where most of it comes from, and it's shrunk up on the bone quite nicely. So I'm extremely happy with it. It looks like it could be nice and tender. So I'm saying that. That's it for this one. We'll wrap this one up. And as usual, if you like what you see, please hit the like button and hit the notification bell for future uploads. And as I've always said, thank you for watching.